Hey there, quick soldering demo. I'm making some leads off of Kato Unitrackers, soldering them, delicately soldering some solid core wire in there to make my own power leads. I've been messing around with applying wire just to the track, but then I figured for the Kato sections this is probably the best way to do it rather than wiring to a Kato track section like I had before. Kind of made a hash of it, but it gets it done. You can see when this has been wired. Didn't do the greatest job of it. Actually put holes through the track or through the ballast. Easily covered though. I've got some material that'll cover that, but I'm doing these ones. Hopefully I'll get the second part better and it'll be a better set. Show you how I do that is I put a little flux right down in there. Just on the metal in there, not on the plastic, with the tip of a toothpick. Just work it in there until you get a little flux on that. You can see it in there. Try to zoom in. You'll see there's flux down in there. Okay, so then I put it in this guy here, in the helping hands clip, and let me adjust the camera so you can see that a little better. Sorry, it's going to lurch for a sec. Or it's just not even going to move. This camera tripod, oh my god, come on. There we go. Let's see if we can do it like that. Zoom in on what I'm doing here, because it's a delicate little deal. First thing I do is I get a little tab of wire the direction I need it to go. That's going to be down to get in there, and then a little flat tab to be attached down inside the unijoiner. So you can see that angle there. That should do it. It's going to go in there and attach. So let's see if we can do that right, and see if we can get a decent view of this as well. Looks like that's as much zoom as it's going to give me. I can angle this up a little bit. You guys can see down into what I'm doing without blocking the light, which I need. Okay, so that's a done deal. I gotta put a little flux on the end of this wire. The soldering iron is hot. Got a little solder here in frame so you can see me just gather a bit. I want it to hang down, so I'm actually going to apply the solder upside down so that the bead of it hangs down, because then I'm going to be using that to attach into the I'd like to get more. Tin the whole top of it, and then draw everything down, clean off this thing. I think this is dirty or something. I don't know. Shouldn't be. Just used it, but I might have got a little plastic on the edges doing that. I might have needed to clean it just a little better than I did. Dipping it in the thingamabobber here. I don't know exactly what you call these things, but soldering iron tip cleaner, I think is the technical term, actually. Okay, so hopefully you can see. This is the wacky doctor's game part of it. You gotta hold this in there and have enough solder on the iron as well to just get it done. First shot, real quick, don't breathe that in. Let the smoke get out of the way. I want this to go real quick because I don't want to melt this joiner. So that can sit in there, it's cool. And then doesn't look like any state on the iron. I have it about the right temperature. Seems like 380 Celsius on this machine works okay. I don't even know how accurate that is. 380, the number on the digital readout. It's supposed to indicate that, but it indicates power level. So, as you can see, I melted this edge just a tiny bit. I didn't do it quite as clean as the other one, but not bad. It's not going to get in the way of anything, that little bit of melt in there. And they look like good solders, and they feel like good solders, and if I don't work them around too much, just kind of get them in at the right angle to pass through the layout and all that, these should be good power leads. So that's how you solder delicately to do soldering in a tight little space where you don't want to melt all the plastic. The first thing is you need a decent soldering iron with a decent small tip. Highly recommend variable temperature with a heat gun soldering station for doing real soldering work. Show you mine here. See that? And this job is done, and I think I'm done soldering for the night. Get this out of the way and I'll show you. This thing has a heat gun as well, and it's variable temperature. Goes up very hot, can burn you. Burnt myself on the tip of the heat gun pretty darn good. So when you pull it off the stand, it's got like an activator in here, a little bubble switch or something. It melts stuff. It's great for heat shrink and other things where you need to heat up stuff. I think it'd be good for plastic forming. I gotta get the heat styled in for the different plastics that I'm gonna try and bend. Or I did use it to bend some metal plastic to make pipes for the refinery. Worked great. It really did actually work really good for that. The little fine tip that I put on there. It comes with a bunch of different tips. Yeah, it comes with different size tips for the heat gun to get wider, narrower spread of heat. It comes with different tips to get different soldering done. And there's a lot of these different 2-in-1, they call them PCB rework stations or just rework stations. The heat gun is technically so you can heat up solder on a PCB and melt all the solder and pull a chip off. But in any case, this was like 50 bucks. And that's worth it to do really good soldering. Sorry, I guess that'll end the video now that the neighborhood's all exploded in car alarm and someone screaming at someone else. Or yelling, I should say. But anyway, yeah, cheers everyone. Happy modeling. Happy soldering.